Oh, yeah, they're on the way.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Two-Way Street Coffee House. Hello, back behind the counter there. Hi. If you didn't figure it out, my name's John. And we are a hybrid again this weekend. We've got the camera mounted on the ceiling over there, but not to worry because it only shows the stage. So if you're not supposed to be here, not to worry. Just saying, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, you can.
Don't tell her.
And we are a listening room, so that means when the performer is playing, we are listening. And we're an all-volunteer staff. Been an all-volunteer staff for 51 years. So everybody you see working here works for free. So tonight, we've got, we got Joel doing the sound, we got Tim doing the camera, Jennifer's hiding back there, and then Donna is the tall one out there, between the two of the ladies. So, and again, my name is John. So tonight we've got Andrew Calhoun in the coffee house. There's a flyer on the table that gives you a little more of a bio than that I could have probably do. So with that, Andrew, are you ready? Come on down.
Thank you. Nice to be back here. It's been a while. William Faulkner said, the past isn't dead. It isn't even past. So that's the theme of the first set here. I'm going to do original songs in the second set, but this mix of things in the first. First song I'm going to do is called, it's from a poem called I Will Go With My Father A-Plowing, written by a poet from Ulster, Northern Ireland. His name was Joseph Campbell, but he's not the Follow Your Bliss guy. I will go with my father plowing to the green field by the sea, and the rooks and the crows and the seagulls will come flocking after me. I will sing to the patient horses with the lark and the white of the air, and my father will sing the plough song that blesses the cleaving share. I will go with my father sowing to the red field by the sea. The rooks and the gulls and the starlings will come flocking after me. I will sing to the striding sowers with the finch on the greening sloe, and my father will sing the seed song that only the wise men know. I will go with my father reaping to the brown field by the sea, and the geese and the crows and the children will come flocking after me. I will sing to the tan-faced reapers with the rain and the heat of the sun, and my father will sing the scythe song that joys for the harvest done. And my father will sing the scythe song that joys for the harvest done. a couple of English folk songs. This one is a very peculiar song. It's called Benjamin Beaumanier. It's collected in Yorkshire from a woman named Sarah Foster. Casters away is thought to mean beaver hat, your caster. That's what the scholars think. I don't know if it's true or not. It sounds good to me. Have you heard how the wars began? Benjamin Beaumanier. Have you heard how the wars began? Casters away. Have you heard how the began when England fought to a man? And the proud tailor rode prancing away. Of his shearboard he made a horse, Benjamin Beaumanier. Of his shearboard he made a horse, casters away. Of his shearboard he made a horse, all for him to ride across. So the proud tailor rode prancing away. Of his scissors he made bridle bits, Benjamin Beaumanier. Of his scissors he made bridle bits, casters away. Of his scissors he made bridle bits to keep the horse in its wits. So the proud tailor rode prancing away. But as he rode o'er the lea, Benjamin Beaumanier, as he rode o'er the lea, casters away. As he rode o'er the lea, he spied a flea on his knee. So the proud tailor rode prancing away. Of his needle he made a spear, Benjamin Beaumanier. Of his needle he made a spear, casters away. Of his needle he made a spear to prick that flea through its ear. So the proud tailor rode prancing away. Of his thimble he made a bell, Benjamin Beaumanier. Of his thimble he made a bell, casters away. Of his thimble he made a bell to ring the flea's funeral knell. So the proud tailor rode prancing away. 'Twas thus that the wars began, Benjamin Beaumanier. 'Twas thus that the wars began, casters away. 'Twas thus that the wars began, when England fought to a man. And the proud tailor rode prancing away. In case you were wondering how the wars began, it's as good as any other explanation, isn't it? Yeah, please. This is called The Banks of Sweet Primroses. As I rode out on a midsummer morning for to view the fields and to take the air down by the banks of the sweet primroses, there I beheld a most lovely fair. With 3 long steps I stepped up to her, not knowing her as she passed me by. I stepped up to her, thinking for to view her. She appeared to me like a virtuous bride, and I said, fair maid, where are you going, and what's the occasion of all your grief? I will make you as happy as any lady if you will grant me one small relief. She said, stand off, you are deceitful, you are deceitful and a false young man. It is you that has caused my poor heart to wander, and to give me comfort lies all in vain. I will go down in some lone valley where no man on earth there shall me find, where the pretty little small birds do change their voices, and every moment blows blusterous wind. So come all you young men who go a-courting, pray give attention to what I say. There is many's the dark and a cloudy morning turns out to be a most sunshiny day. That's quite an optimistic little song. This is not. This is a Scottish border ballad and appropriately grim hunting ballad. It's best known these days as Johnny O'Bredis Lee, or it's called, my version's called Johnny O'Cockley's Well, which I put together from a lot of old versions. And this is from around 1620. It's very old. Johnny is warned by his mother not to go hunting. Now, if you know the ballads, anytime the mother warns the son not to do something and he doesn't listen, it will not come out well for him. In this case, Johnny is simply following the way of his ancestors, but the laws have changed on him. Johnny rose on a May morning, sought water to wash his hands, and he's called for his hunting hounds, and were bound in iron bands, bands that were bound in iron bands. Johnny's readied his good bent bow, likewise his arrows keen. He stripped him himself of the scarlet red, put on the Lincoln green, green put on the Lincoln green. Johnny's mother got a word of that, a woeful woman was she. Says, I beg you stay at home, my son, I pray be ruled by me, I pray be ruled by me. 'Cause we have plenty of good brown bread, plenty of blood red wine. Johnny, go not to yon greenwood for to hunt your venison, to hunt your venison. But Johnny's made a solemn vow between the sun and the moon, and he's away to the good greenwood to hunt the dun deer down, down to hunt the dun deer down. He looked to the east, he looked to the west, and in below the sun, there he spied the king's dun deer was cropping a bush of broom, a broom was cropping a bush of broom. Johnny shot dun deer leapt, and she leapt wondrous wide, till they came to the Wan water, where his hounds they stemmed her pride, pride, his hounds they stemmed her pride. Johnny's handled the deer so well, he sat out the liver and the lungs. With these he feasted his good greyhounds, as if they had been Earl's sons, Earl's sons, as if they had been Earl's sons. They ate so much of the venison, they drank so much of the blood, that Johnny and his hunting hounds fell asleep by yon greenwood, greenwood, fell asleep by yon greenwood. By there came a grey-headed man, a sorry old man was he. He is away to the king's foresters for to tell what he did see, for to tell what he did see. Out then spoke one, out then spoke two, out then spoke two or three. If this be Johnny a Cockley's well, this youth will go and see, this youth will go and see. They rode out by yon greenwood, and in among the scrogs they spied Johnny a Cockley's well, was sleeping between his dogs was sleeping between his dogs. The first arrows they fired at him, they wounded him on the thigh. The second flight they fired at him, heart's blood did blind his eye, heart's blood did blind his eye. When Johnny rose out from his sleep, an angry man was he. Says, you might have asked if I'd be taken before that you fired on me, before that you fired on me. Johnny set his back against an oak, his foot against a stone. He's fired on the 7 foresters, killed them all but one, and killed them all but one. and he cracked 3 ribs of that man's side, likewise his collarbone. And he's cast him sideways over a steed to carry the tidings home, home for to carry the tidings home. Is there not a bird in all yon wood could sing as I can say, could fly into my mother's bower, bid her kiss me and fetch me away, away, bid her kiss me and fetch me away. I was Scottish, but I have an Irish one here. This is called The Spalpeen's Complaint of a Galbally Farmer. A spalpeen was a migrant worker in Ireland. They owned one tool, and they would rent themselves out for the season. So this fellow was digging potatoes, and he worked for a room and board and a fee. In Scotland, these are called bothy ballads. There's a number of them complaining about the working conditions, which this one definitely is. This sounds like a very weird individual, actually, that he was working for. We know the type. One evening of late, as I happened to stray to the county Tipperary, I straight took my way to dig the potatoes and work by the day. I hired with a Galbally farmer. I asked him how far we were bound for to go, songs were a sort of form of social control and warn people not to work for that guy, and he might change his ways. It's about another migrant worker, written by one. His name was Woody Guthrie. Having some hard traveling, I thought you know. Having some hard traveling way down the road. Having some hard traveling, hard rambling, hard gambling. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been riding them fast rattlers, I thought you know. I've been riding them flat wheelers way down the road. I've been riding them blind passengers, dead enders, kicking up the cinders. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been hitting that hard rock mine, and I thought you know. I've been leaning on a pressure drill way down the road. I've been flying, air sucking, 6 feet of mud, I sure been a mucking. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been having some hard harvesting, I thought you know. North Dakota to Kansas City, way down the road. Cutting that wheat, stacking that hay, trying to make about $1 a day. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been working at Pittsburgh Steel, I thought you know. I've been dumping that red hot slag away down the road. I've been blasting, I've been firing, I've been pouring a red hot iron, and I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been laying in a hard rock jail, I thought you know. I've been laying out 90 days way down the road. Damned old judge, he said to me, 90 days for vagrancy. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been walking that Lincoln Highway, I thought you know. I've been hitting that 66 way down the road. Heavy load and a worried mind, looking for a woman that's hard to find. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. This song was written in 1971 by Eric Bogle. It got sung a lot, but I haven't heard it sung in a few years. Eric Bogle was a Scotsman who moved to Australia. You'd see these big parades for Anzac Day, which is commemorating the Battle of Gallipoli, fought in 1915 in Turkey. So he started doing some research on this blessed event, which there were 500,000 deaths, including both sides. So it's excuse me here. Quite a piece. I first heard Liam Clancy sing this when I was a teenager. Clancy and Tommy Makem did a. Were you there, Randy? Orchestra Hall, I think. That was a fantastic concert. I was lucky to be a teenager in Chicago. Incredible folk scene and people coming through. Liam did this one. When I was a young man, I carried me pack, lived the free life of a rover, from the Murray's green basin to the dusty outback. straight back to Australia. And the band played Waltzing Matilda. And we stopped to bury the slain. We buried ours, and the Turks buried theirs. And we started all over again. And those that were left, well, we tried to survive in that mad world of death, blood, and fire. And for 10 weary weeks I kept myself alive, though around me the corpses piled higher. Then a big Turkish shell knocked me arse overhead. When I awoke in a hospital bed, saw what it had done, and I wished I was dead. Never knew there were worse things than dying. For no more I'll go waltzing Matilda, all around the green bush far and free. For to hump tent and pegs, well, a man needs both legs. No more waltzing Matilda for me. And they gathered the crippled, the wounded, the maimed, shipped us back home to Australia. The armless, the legless, the blind, the insane, those brave wounded heroes of Suvla. And when our ship pulled into Circular Quay, I looked at the stumps where my legs used to be, and thanked Christ there was no one there waiting for me to grieve and to mourn and to pity. And the band played Waltzing Matilda as they carried us down the gangway. Nobody cheered, they just stood there and stared, and they turned all their faces away. So now every April I sit on my porch and watch the parades pass before me. And I see my old comrades, how proudly they march, reviving old dreams of past glory. The old men walk slowly, old bones stiff and sore, tired old heroes from a forgotten war. And the young people ask, what are they marching for? I ask myself the same question. And the band plays Waltzing Matilda. Old men still answer the call, but as year follows year, more old men disappear. Someday no one will march there at all. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, oh, come a waltzing Matilda with me. Their ghosts may be heard as they march by that billabong. Oh, come a waltzing Matilda with me. Well, the Easter Uprising in Ireland happened a year after that battle. It happened in 1916. And of course, there were Irish soldiers also fighting at the Battle of Gallipoli. The Irish soldiers were called wild geese. The fellow who wrote this song was a young priest from County Antrim. And he wrote this in praise of the Irish rebels who fought the English instead of foggy dew. As down the glen one Easter morn to a city fair rode I, their armed lines of marching men in squadrons passed me by. No fife did hum and no battle drum did sound its dread tattoo, but the Angelus bell or the Liffey's swell rang out in the foggy dew. Right proudly high over Dublin town they hung out the flag of war. It was better to die neath an Irish sky than at Suvla or Sudelbar. And from the plains of Royal Meath strong men came hurrying through, while Britannia's Huns with their long-range guns sailed into the foggy dew. It was England bade our wild geese go, that small nations might be free, but their lonely graves are by Suvla's waves on the fringe of the great North Sea. But had they died by Pierce's side or fought with Calhoun, their graves we'd keep where the Fenians sleep, neath the shroud of the foggy dew. The night fell black and the rifles' crack made perfidious Albion reel. Mid that leaden rain 7 tongues of flame shone over the lines of steel, and beside each blade a prayer was said that to Ireland her sons would be true. And when morning broke, still the green flag shook out its folds in the foggy dew. But the bravest fell and the requiem knell rang mournfully and clear for those who died at Easter tide in the springtime of the year. And the world did gaze in deep amaze at those fearless men but few, who bore the fight that freedom's light might shine through the foggy dew. As back through the glen I rode again, my heart with grief was sore, for I parted then with valiant men whom I never shall see more. And to and fro in my dreams I go, and I kneel and I pray for you, for slavery fled, oh glorious dead, when you fell in the foggy dew. I'm reading a 2-volume biography of a man named Hamish Henderson right now. Have you heard of him?
Hamish Henderson, one of the great. Only by me. I first heard them from this song, which was on an album Ewan McCall recorded of British Army songs. Album was in this song was in very thick Scots. Hamish was his mother actually got pregnant. She was an army nurse in France right at the end of World War I. So we're doing our little history here, but we'll be up to date soon, I promise. So she was an army nurse, and she came back to Scotland pregnant, and she was a single mother in the town of Blairgowrie, which is frowned upon at the time, rather Calvinist society. And they moved to a remote highland village where such things were not so frowned upon. She must have been an extraordinary woman. She died when Hamish was 10, and she'd sent him down to a school in England. He had a knack for languages. So he grew up speaking Gaelic, Scots Gaelic, they speak in the Highlands, and Scots, you know. He became fluent in 5 European languages, Hamish Henderson, as well as learning Latin and Greek. And he's just a character, just an amazing guy. So he, before the Second World War, he was helping the Quakers. He helped smuggle a boy out of Germany, a Jewish boy. And he got involved in the fight against fascism in World War II as an intelligence officer. He was very valuable because he spoke Italian and German. Naturally, he was, well, first he was fighting in Africa. And then in Sicily. So this song comes from August 16th, 1943. The 51st Highland Division was being sent back after fighting in Sicily to Scotland, and they were going to be sent back again into heavy fighting in France. And they were lining up, and they were playing this pipe tune from World War I by Sir James Robertson called Farewell to the Creeks. And Hamish got these lines in his head. Poor bloody swatties are weary. That was the line that went. Like half an hour he'd written this song. Swatty is just a grunt, British Army grunt, you know. So I've translated this from Scots for you. polished, the drum major's tall. He cannot be seen for his webbing at all. He's puffed himself up for a photo, and all to leave it with lawless dearie. And fair were ye dives of Sicily, fair ye were ye cottage and hall. We'll all mind saloons and shanties where Jock made a date with his dearie. Fair were ye dives of Sicily, fair ye were ye cottage and hall. We'll all mind saloons and shanties where kind signorinas were cheery. And tune the pipes and drop the tenor drum. Leave your kit to this side of the wall. Tune the pipes and drop the tenor drum. All the bright chambers are eerie. Let's see if you can guess who wrote the next one. I'll tell you. Hamish went back to Scotland and co-founded the School of Scottish Studies in Edinburgh and spearheaded the folk revival in Scotland. Collected a lot of music from the traveling people, the tinkers, the gypsies that really had been looked down on, and had this incredible wealth of songs and ballads. He lived to 2002, and I was too stupid when I went to Scotland to look him up. I didn't know about him, so it was quite encouraging of many people's efforts with the music. So this is by Gordon Lightfoot, but it's one of his deep cuts. I hate those terms. I'm going to cover one of his deep cuts. This is Gordon's father worked in a laundromat, and he died from these lousy martinizing chemicals. So some of that in this first verse. It's called "Don't Beat Me Down." I got one more after this, just a little medley. I just planned these weird songs that seem to go into a tapestry, so we'll come up for air by the end of the set, I promise. When he was a man, my father would stand. I never saw him run. There wasn't anyone could make the man bend. The strength of his will was the tool of his trade, and he did his work well till the powers that be took a liking to him. He traded that's all I can give, so don't beat me down. Now I got a place, I got a worried face and a question in mind. Please help me find the reason somehow why some reap the harvest while other men die, and the joker runs wild. If powers that be take a liking to us, we all must return to the ways of a child. We all must return to the ways of a child. Don't beat me down. Don't beat me down. I got something to say, don't you stand in my way. Don't beat me down. I got one life to live, and that's all I can give, so don't beat me down. This is a medley of it's one of John Prine's early songs. He spent a couple of years in the Army. He was drafted in 66 to 68. He didn't go to Vietnam, though. He sent him to Germany. First, he was in Fort Polk, Louisiana, near Leesville, Louisiana. And he says he just saw these two characters and made up this song about them. Small town, bright lights, Saturday night, pinballs and pool halls flashing their lights. You could change behind the counter in a penny arcade. Sat the fat girl daughter of Virginia and Ray. Lydia hid her thoughts like a cat behind her small eyes, sunk deep in her fat. She read a romance magazine up in her room. Felt just like Sunday on a Saturday afternoon. But dreaming just comes natural, like the first breath from a baby, like sunshine feeding daisy, like the love hidden deep in your heart. Bunk beds, shaved heads, Saturday night, warehouse of strangers with 60-watt lights, staring through the ceiling, just wanting to be they one of too many, a young PFC. Donald. There were spaces between Donald and whatever he said. Strangers had forced him to live in his head. He envisioned the details of romantic scenes after midnight in the stillness of the barracks of dream. But dreaming just comes natural, like the first breath Noah. Open the window, Noah. Open the window, let the dove come in. Open the window, let the dove come in. The little dove flew in the window and mourned. Open the window, let the dove come in. The little dove flew in the window and mourned. Open the window, let the dove come in. Open the window, Noah. Open the window, Noah. Open the window, Noah. Open the window. The little dove brought back the olive leaf. Open the window, let the dove come in. The little dove brought back the olive leaf. Open the window, let the dove come in. Open the window, Noah. Open the window, Noah. Open the window, Noah. Open the window, let the dove come in. Open the window, let the dove come in. Open the window, let the dove come
I believe that Andrew's out of coffee. I've been watching, and that cup getting higher and higher and higher. So we'll take a little short break. Washrooms are out the door and to your left, and we'll be back shortly. Oh, all by the way, Andrew has brought a whole mess of CDs up there. He wouldn't mind leaving them with you. So if you've got a moment there, you can slide up there and see what he's got, and you'll then pay the people behind the counter. Donna, there she is. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Oh, now I can do it? Oh, good. Oh, good. So we're back. There's no line at the washroom, so I think we're safe to start again. That's what I always gauge it on, is if there's a line at the washroom. So next Friday, believe it or not, July the 1st, hard to believe, is a quarterly open mic here in the coffee house. So if you think you could do this, or if you want to read a poem, do whatever, next Friday is your day. So, word on the street is that I might have a couple new songs. And my cohorts over there always enjoy my feeble attempts at coming up with an original. I know you do. Donna behind the counter there labeled me the man of many hats because I do kind of pretty much anything that needs doing. So I wrote a song. Don't know if it'll make it out or not. But anyway, tomorrow, in addition to Grove Fest, in addition to, I think they've got a sale in the garage sale in the big room. There's also a country western jam in this room from 2 to 4. Yeah. And, you can either come and listen, you can come and play, you can sing along. But anyway, 2 to 4 in this room. It's hosted by our country western expert. We are pretty well booked through the end of the year, and I think even to next year a little bit every Friday night. When you start to say, 51 years times 52 weeks in a year, you can figure out how many guys people have stood up on this stage. So with that, I think I've said all I need to say. Andrew, are you ready? Oh, good. Well, then I'm going to step away and let you up.
Hand for John and all the volunteers tonight. Keep this place alive. I've been playing this room since 1976. Yeah, an early gig. It was like a high school hangout then, and everybody would talk over you. It's just one of those things. And then I stopped playing it, and then years later, Dave Humphrey said, "Come back and play. It's different now. People listen." I was like, "All right, I like that." Haven't been writing much the last half dozen years. I've been working on other things, but I've been working on my old songs because I'm learning how to play them. I was always better at words than music, and the music's starting to catch up a little bit. So this was the title song on my first record, Water Street. It was called. It was on Hogeye Records, 1983. Is that right? I feel dizzy. Time passing, I remember the first time I heard this played on the Midnight Special, and it was the first time I heard my music on the radio. I was driving. I was like, wow. Anyway, it's about ready to record again. Water Street. Someday I will walk down Water Street, far among the noble fields. Someday I will walk down Water Street, far among the noble street, far among the noble fields. Someday I will walk down Water Street, far among the noble fields. Whiskey dogs my father's footstep, hot guilt blinds my mother's eye. I am weak and I am lonely. I have only one long try. Someday I will walk down Water Street, far among the noble fields. Someday I will walk down Water Street, far among the noble fields. One light shines to the edge of Water Street, each remembered, none forgot. We are called from the end of Water Street, gather here and suffer not. Someday I will walk down Water Street, far among the noble fields. Someday I will walk down Water Street, far among the noble fields, far among the noble fields. It's called Walk Easy. Summer comes in early, southern sun is strong. First I saw your shining eyes and I heard your siren song. Will you follow me, you said, our silence is to break. Across the bridge on Sudden Creek I wander in your wake. Walk easy, darling, easy on this earth. Walk easy, darling, easy on this earth. It's tender in the moment, love easy at the time. Broken bread and nothing said, and streams of blood red wine. Have you had your fill of me? Will you tell me when? Take me in your arms, love, lay me down again. Walk easy, darling, easy on this earth. Walk easy, darling, easy on this earth. There's a cottage out on Matinicus Island, Maine. It's just been in the family since my grandfather bought it in 1935. It's the most remote inhabited island off of Maine. It's 23 miles out. You used to have to take a boat called the Marier, and you'd be on there with barrels of fish in the mail and stuff. There's still a charter boat you can get, or if you want to get out there in 10 minutes, you can take a little plane. This is a song about the island's in an older rhythm than the rest of the continent has fallen into. It's really good to get out there and slow down. Richest lobster area in the world. All the lobstermen used to live on the island. Now they have to have a house there, but they live on the mainland and have these speedboats to go back and forth. Richer than they used to be. Anyway, this is I'll say a poem which is also about another island in Maine by Edna St. Vincent Millay, who is from Rockland, Maine, which is where you get the boat from. To go to Matinicus. She grew up there. So her poem is called Ragged Island. Let's see. There where those black spruces crowd to the edge of the precipitous cliff above your boat, under the eastern wall of the island. And no wave breaks, as if all had been done and long ago that needed doing. And the cold tide, unimpeded by shoal or shelving ledge, moves up and down instead of in and out. And there's no driftwood there, because there's no beach. Clean cliff going down as deep as clear water can reach. No driftwood, such as abounds on the roaring shingle to be hefted home for fires in the kitchen stove. Barrels banged ashore about the boiling outer harbor. Lobster buoys on the eel grass of the sheltered cove. There, thought unbraids itself, and the mind becomes single. And the song is called Moon and Sea. Circle gleaming on high, pulls on the memory of tides that sigh. The name of the moon, the name of the deep, the name of the woman who watches you sweep. The shadow and triumph, silent and huge, extends now forever your tiny refuge. One room in a million, one moon in the sky, shines on your breathing and the tides that sigh. They pound on the shoreline, then run like the wind. They batter the rocks like fools rushing in. Come like the lion, they go like the lamb, to lie with the woman who knows who I am. She's like you, I think, that glittering sea that winks in the morning when she wakens to me. From a night full of shifting, she sighs and she shines, a path to the gold that no one can find. A pathway of gold, a path to the pearl, a scarf for the lover who knitted the world. From the height of the moon to the depth of the deep, to the breath of the woman few years ago, a song of encouragement to a young man who was as tortured as he was gifted. It's called Sammy. Maybe you decided, maybe you just know, a flame that burns so brightly is destined soon to go. Before you'd leave this ruthless place, I'd have you sure of this. Your name's engraved within a heart where you'd be sorely missed. Beauty on your banner, death at your back door. I'll knock again as for a friend, you've heard that sound before. If I could face him down for you, I'd shout him down the years. I'd hide you in my closet and drown him in my tears. Not every ghost is holy, not every cause is just, not every haunting brings you down, not every star is crossed. Your burden's only what you choose, the how of being who. Destiny may bend its mind to one whose heart is true. Would you mind turning off your cell phone there? It's really distracting me, the light from it. Him. This is a little bitty love song. Actually, I want to do this one. Verge from Plan. This is called the Peach Song. Hey, you, it's all come true. I'm a last hope dangling. I'm a right peach hanging. And I don't want to die on the ground. Don't want to die on the ground. Was I bud? Was I fairy? Didn't I bring the spring early? Didn't I dance in the morning air? This tree the supplicant and me the prayer. Hey, you, it's all come true. I'm a last hope dangling. I'm a ripe peach hanging. And I don't want to die on the ground. I don't want to die on the ground. Pluck this body for your use, plump and soft and full of juice. The summer's glory, the harvest's pride, just toss my heart of stone aside. Hey, you, it's all come true. I'm a last hope dangling. I'm a ripe peach hanging. And I don't want to die on the ground. Don't want to die on the ground. Don't want to die on the ground. Sometimes I like to write songs that are like a minute long. See what you can get done. Leonard Cohen has a song called I Tried to Leave You. And it's about this like tedium and ambivalence of being in a relationship and committing yourself every day. And I thought it was like 12 verses long, you know. Then I saw it in a songbook, and it was 9 lines. How did he do that? If I were in your home, now I would not awake you. No, when I am in your home, so silent may we be, that one asleep and one awake, our wedding mystery. Nothing's true but love, and life is not so short as the desperate ones attest. And time permits a view of ink blacks shift to gray into light before the day turns into the blue and leaps within your eyes like a dream into the sunrise. When I am in your home. So I'm going to do a song called Portrait of a Girl and Her Parents. The girl is 9 years old. For the first 2 verses, she ages 50 years before the last verse. I'll do a poem. Poem is goes with the song. This is by Mary Oliver from her book When I Wake Early. It's called Trout Lilies. It happened I couldn't find in all my books more than a picture and a few words concerning the trout lily. So I shut my eyes and let the darkness come in and roll me back. The old creek began to sing in my ears as it rolled along like the hair of spring. And the girl I used to be heard it also as she came swinging into the woods, truant from everything as usual, except the clear globe of day and its beautiful details. Then she stopped, where the first trout lilies of the year had sprung from the ground with their spotted bodies, and their 6-antlered bright faces, and their many red tongues. If she spoke to them, I don't remember what she said, and if they kindly answered, it's a gift that can't be broken by giving it away. All I know is there was a light that lingered for hours under her eyelids that made a difference when she went back to a difficult house at the end of the day. They are here every day, and they walk in my dreams, dull eyes and sharp tongues, in a house full of screens, and they're here at the door, maybe watching for clues, where I'm never caught lying, I am ever accused, but there's always the world, where the sun meets the grain, and the whole rolling ocean, the salt of my pain. little joy taken when your enemy's dead, and the wounds you were given are all in your head. Go tell the explainers, tell them in time they might have their answers, but they'll never have mine. There's always the world, I was never to blame, where you can't be a loser, life's not a game. True stories are the weirdest. This is I'm back living in the house I lived in from age 10 to 20. Glen Ellen. Taking care of my elderly dad. He's 95 now. He seems to be amused by it. I'm still here, he says. When he turned 92, he said, well, it's a start. My father's occasionally very funny. Anyway, the condo I mentioned in the song was I don't know why I have to tell you this, but it's right across from Glenbard West. And the building hasn't really changed. But several years ago, I went to a Cubs game. Hadn't gone in years. Somebody gave me a ticket, you know. It's when they were really terrible. Well, they're terrible again. But, yeah, God, awful team. So, anyway, I was reading the Cubs blogs at the time, and I'd seen this picture of this guy they drafted out of the University of Indiana. Nobody looks like Kyle Schwarber. So we went to the game, you know, and I'm getting off the train. It's like, you know, the 12:04. It's the last train. I'm standing looking, and there's this fellow talking to these Cub fans, you know, that I'd actually rode in with. And he said, yeah, I'm from the Cincinnati area, and I wanted to sit in the stands at Wrigley. And I'm like, I said, are you Kyle Schwarber? Like, yeah. So I shook his hand, and I've been a huge fan. Now I'm a Phillies fan, because he's a Phillies fan. Anyway, I started walking home, and he was apparently being put up by a family in that condo building. He was walking toward that condo building. Do y'all know about the Wade Center in Wheaton? They have the wardrobe, you know, C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. They have the wardrobe there. It's this little museum that was made by hand by C.S. Lewis's grandfather. It's just a beautiful thing. And the little writing desk that Tolkien wrote The Hobbit on. You should know about it. You live here, you know. The Marion C. Wade Center. If you drive from the east into past the college, you get to that stop sign, Jackson or what? Anyway, turn right, and it's up 2 blocks, little stone building. It's a beautiful place. All of which has really nothing to do with this song. I don't know. Anyway, you know, you're growing up, you have a bunch of friends, but sometimes you have one friend who you sort of become part of their family and they become part of yours. And that was was the case with his family. I've changed the name to protect the innocent here. The guy I call Fred is my oldest friend. I dare say my dearest. Fred's family lived in a condo across the tracks from high school. Free period, we'd be up there drinking tea. Happy memory. Fred's mother lived in a bathrobe, frowned more than she spoke, and she'd emerge on rare occasions for coffee and a smoke. Fred's brother lived in his bedroom without much to feed his soul, but a couple thousand 45s and a love for rock and roll. Fred said he'd been suicidal and he had a rare affliction. With no moisture to his body, he used lotion by the carton. Said his brother used so much lotion of this one special brand. Each year they sent a company pen to thank the nation's driest man. Fred's dad bought a little farm, a bet for better days. We cleared out box elder trees for a week of summer days. And when we finished high school, all their kids were grown. Fred's dad moved his troubled wife up to that quiet farm. Fred's mom was long recovered, and his brother, 27, set to marry his first girlfriend, a 19-year-old woman. They offered $30. I thought it quite a thing to mark the priceless honor of singing at their wedding. So they came to walk between new and old family, and stood in humble joy before the minister and me. But I recoil to recall the twisted things he said. His words flowed on like oily snakes that rent the air and fled. He could quote the words of Paul, and Jesus' death and rise, but he could not see the holy thing that stood before his eyes. He told them where the Spirit lived, warned them how it moved, as if true love, the miracle, could somehow be improved. I saw the bride's glad shining eyes glaze over and go dull, and the groom stood gray and vacant now, where late his heart was full. But it was more than anger that caused my voice to ring, and gave me breath to sing their song better than I can sing. Fred's dad joined the old folks in crying in the pew. Fred's brother lives in Wisconsin. 4 children to his wife. He still has to put on lotion every morning of his life. God and say, hey, mister, sister again. Give me shoo-ba-doo, give me shoo-ba-ba-dee. Get my home run city out of slavery. We were drunk in love, we were tip-to-bow, we were high and full, but we are sober now, we are sober now. Whatever I have, it is never enough. Glide on smooth water and make it rough. Own my own home and think it's strange. Sit in my kitchen, wait for life to change. Thank you. So wild tune. I do one more. Does that feel right? Well. Well, okay. Wrote this in 97. And my mother asked for a copy of the words, so I wrote them out for her. My mother died in 2006. She had a lousy brain illness called progressive supranuclear palsy. So she was unable to walk or talk for her last year. I think she was doing a lot of good meditating though. A month after she died, I found these lyrics in the bottom of her purse. You can't beat that. I'll send this out to my mother. It's called The King. A dusty attic room, stillness of a tomb, where someone else's memory gathers in the gloom. While out on the quay, the water slapped at me and roared as if to say, we wash it all away. This is where my king calls me home, my king calls me home. This is where my king calls me home. Struggle was the lock, and honor
think I should milk them? He says I should milk you guys. So I think he did a fine job. I think he needs a little milking. There you go. Milking would be a term we could use. Begging might be another. But, Andrew, there's a long-standing tradition here. Shh. Donna, hush. Nobody gets out of the coffee house without an encore. So, do you have one more? Please say yes. Please say yes.
I can dig one up.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to sing.
I've neglected Robert Burns tonight. I spent the last 8 years researching his songs, having discovered that all of them were published with inferior sets of the melodies he actually wrote them to. And sometimes I found better lyrics. He would tend to, he was a poor reviser of his own work. So he would leave a better copy in his desk than he would send to his publishers sometimes. This one, a number of the songs have been real surprises, including some of the most famous. I don't know if this is famous with young people, but when I was growing up, everyone knew this song called Flow Gently, Sweet Afton. And do you know it? Have you heard of it? It was in the Fireside Book of Folk Songs. And a lot of people sang it. And it had this sort of Victorian pretty melody with it. I didn't like the song at all. Stupid song, sort of a sentimental idyll. I didn't get it. And then I found that the original tune it was printed with was a one-part melody with this blue note that really changed the whole feeling of the song. So that's a more interesting song than I thought. Afton was a little river near where Burns lived in Dumfriesshire. And I made a friend, Patrick Scott, who's a great Burns scholar and used to keep the library of the G. Ross Roy. It's the major Burns center in the States. And he got interested in the work I was doing, and he sent me manuscripts, scans, which I never would have had access to otherwise. And one of them was this song that he wrote 3 years before he sent it to the Scots Musical Museum. Not only did I like the lyric better, but it said tune, The Banks of Tay. Well, 15 years ago, I couldn't have done this research, but you go to the Library of Scotland's website, all these old tune books from the 18th century have been digitized. So I just plugged in Banks of Tay, James Oswald. There's this two-part melody. And the song is just a completely different animal, than I thought it was. So I'll sing it for you here. This is, I think, written in English. Well, a bray. Do you know what a bray is? It's a hillside. Yeah, they use that all the time in Scotland. I think it came from the old word for brow, So, lyrics by Robert Burns, tuned by James Oswald. Flow gently, clear Afton, among thy green braes. I'm going to start this again. Flow gently, clear Afton, among thy green braes, and grateful I'll sing thee a song and thy praise. My Mary's asleep by thy murmuring stream. Flow gently, clear Afton, disturb not her dream. Thou stock dove whose echo resounds through the glen, ye blackbirds that chant in yon wild thorny den, thou green-crested plover, thy screaming forbear. I charge you, disturb not my slumbering How lofty clear Afton, thy neighboring hills, far marked with the currents of clear winding rills. There daily I wander as noon rises high. My flocks and my Marys, sweet caught in my eye. How pleasant thy banks and green valleys below, where wild in the woodlands the primroses blow. There oft as mild evening weeps over the lea, the sweet scented birch hides my Mary and me. Thy crystal stream Afton, how lovely it glides, and winds by the cot where my Mary resides. How wanton thy waters her snowy feet lave, and gathering sweet flowerets she stems thy pure wave. Flow gently clear Afton among thy green graves. Flow gently, sweet river, the theme of my lays. My Mary's asleep by thy murmuring stream. Flow gently, clear Afton, disturb not her dream. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you.
All right, one more round of applause. All right. Thank you, Andrew. Just a reminder, next Friday is open mic for anybody who thinks they can sing or write a poem or something like that. And we, like I say, we have people booked through the end of the year and into next year already. So if you're just sitting around on a Friday and say, well, just come on down because you'll find entertainment here at a good price. All right, with that, have a safe trip home. Be careful of the Grove Fest people. Some have maybe been overserved. All righty, take care.